Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. How are you all doing today? It is Sunday. Some folks say Sunday fun day. It is hot. I think we say that every day. We've been saying that every day lately. And I notice no matter where we are in the country, I've been hearing that as well. Everyone talking about how um, different the heat is this year for um, for summer, but it's all good because we are here. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Happy Sunday to you. Please let me know where you're watching from. I would love to give you a shout out, give your city a shout out. But for those who don't know me, my name is Tiffany Newton. I'm a master certified health and life coach. I'm in the mental space um, area, and I should say mental health space. And I've been there, I guess, for a couple of years, and I've ventured off into the co-parenting space as God has been leading me in that area. So, thus, thus the 30-day challenge that I'm in, and it is day 15 of my challenge. So, this has been nice to be able to share this with you, to share my journey to co-parenting with you. And that's what this is all about, my journey to co-parenting and the things that I've learned so far throughout my journey. Granted, no situation is perfect. Nothing in life is perfect, but we can always strive to do the best that we can do. We can, especially when we're Christians, we can rely on God to help us. And we have the support of those around us as well, our family and friends that we can use to help us as well to go through different challenges and um, transitions in life. So we have been talking about so much during this 30-day challenge, and the last week we really dug into the child first method because it is my desire to help co-parents, who are struggling in the era of co-parenting to just establish, and they don't even have to be struggling, but just to maintain, and also to maintain a healthy co-parenting relationship. And, um, so they won't have to necessarily deal with the long-term effects of communication issues that, have plagued us in our journeys in co-parenting. And then we can also raise healthy children as well, emotionally healthy children. So our vault is the child first method. And this is something I believe God has given me, and I have utilized this in my own life, in my journey. So the child first method, it is a comprehensive approach to co-parenting. It emphasizes effective communication, collaboration, and it prioritizes the well-being of the child. It stands for, because child in child first method is an acronym. So it stands for communication, which includes partnership and collaboration. And it also includes honoring the other parent's role, involvement with the child, and letting go of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and determining in everything to think about the child and what's best for them together. So when we're thinking about our vault, which is our child first method, we already started um, kind of talking about our combinations to our vault. And the child, the acronym in child is our combination. So we started talking about communication last week. So we pretty much um, completed with communication. But as we know, effective communication is the cornerstone. Hey, Dr. Kim, thank you for joining. Um, but effective communication is the cornerstone of the child first method. And so as we think about our vault, usually when we have a vault, it is nobody has a vault for nothing. Normally we keep valuable things in the vault. I used to work in banking for about 10 years. And when I was a teller at the bank, we had a vault. All banks have a vault. And at our operations center, we had a big vault because that's where all the money went. So in a vault, there are valuable things. There are things that we want to keep out of the hands of people who don't necessarily need it at the time. We want to protect those things that are in a vault. We can keep jewelry in there. We can keep important papers, things that really mean something to us. So when we think about our vault, we have the child first method, but inside of that vault, we have been focusing on our child. That is our child. Our child is inside that vault. And effective communication, which encompasses emotional, healthy co parenting. So that is inside our vault. So our child and emotionally healthy co parenting. So these combinations that we are going through, it's going to help us to tap into those things that are most valuable or should be most valuable to us in this journey of co-parenting. So, of course, I talked about um, focusing on our child's best interest, and that's going to encompass everything that we talk about throughout these lives. We're going to always think about our child's well-being, and we're going to prioritize our child. So, today we're going to talk about honoring the other parent's role. Now, this is a huge one because sometimes it's hard to acknowledge the other parent's role because that might have been something that we necessarily didn't do when we were married, you know, or when we were together with that person. I know with me and my ex, I tend to be um, more controlling as it relates to, the household and the children. I mean, I definitely wanted my hands in everything. So I didn't necessarily give him an opportunity to bring forth the things that he probably should have because I took care of everything, and not saying that, I did it intentionally, but that was just my personality. I really want to be a very hands-on mom, which I still am, but I've made, some adjustments because I've had to. But and it's really been for the betterment of our children. So when we think about acknowledging and appreciating the unique roles and the contributions of both parents, I had to look up the word acknowledge because that really stood out to me. So when I looked up the word acknowledge, it said, I saw words like accept, admit the existence of, to express or display gratitude for or appreciation of, and to show that one has noticed or recognized the fact or importance of something that is usually already known. So I thought that was a very good definition of acknowledge. So when we're thinking about um, our co-parent, how are you acknowledging them as the other parent? Moms, how are you acknowledging the dads? Dads, how are you acknowledging the moms? So think about that as we're going through. And of course, we won't be long today, but I'm just going to give you just a little bit to chew on um, today as it relates to honoring the other parent's role. So what does that look like? We're recognizing that each parent's individual strengths and contributions fosters a positive co-parenting relationship. And it encourages mutual respect, cooperation, and a willingness to work together for the well-being of the child. So in order for us to recognize the other parent's strength and contributions, we have to be healthy. I'm going to always talk about that. I'm going to always talk about the emotional health for ourselves, and I'm always going to talk about focusing on the child. So if you don't want to hear it, but that should be our focus, because we should want to be better parents and we should want the best for our child. And to me, I think that's easy. Do you agree? Do you think that's easy? I think it is. Uh, but of course, if you don't, you're probably not healthy. I'm just saying. So moving along. So being healthy, it is essential, to this. It's essential to us recognizing the other parent's role and their strengths and what it is that they actually bring to the table. And ultimately, it's essential to the emotional health of our children, because as we've learned, in order for us to raise emotionally healthy children, or I should say, the likelihood of raising emotionally healthy children, we have to be healthy. So, recognizing and valuing what each parent brings to the co-parenting dynamic, it can lead to a more balanced approach to raising our child. And one other thing I want to say about that is, um, when we think about individual strengths, and it's funny because even in my marriage, both of us, we were pretty good at money. Um, as far as managing money for the most part. Um, but we had different behaviors that contributed to us having some challenges in that area. And sometimes you'll find that, and those challenges exist even now, but we still have a common goal, and that needs to be our due north. Our child should always be our due north, no matter what disagreement we have, no matter what deficiencies or strengths the other has. But then we can also appreciate each other's strengths as well. So for example, I know that my boy's dad, he really enjoys being involved with them in their extracurricular activities. Like, for example, my one of my sons, he plays baseball, or really any sports that they play, he's normally involved. Sometimes he'll coach the teams and things of that nature. So since I know he enjoys that, I don't mind asking him, "Hey, do you mind taking Justice to baseball practice? Do you?" And then also, I would remind him of certain things about the boys, because that's a strength of mine, and I know that's not a strength of his. But I do that because I want him to be there, and I acknowledge that that is not necessarily a strength of his, but it's a strength of mine. And he doesn't take it personal, because he knows that that's something that I'm helping him with, which I believe when we acknowledge that, we appreciate that. We definitely do. Hey, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. So the one other thing, there's so many other things that I can talk about in this area, and I probably say that about all of them, but I would say, acknowledging and appreciating each other's role as the child witnesses a united front. And it is so important, because our child loves both of us, and our child does not want to be stuck in the middle of any conflict that we have, because I mean, we will have conflicts, but when we do have that appreciation and that acknowledgement of the other parent, it can give or will give the child a sense of security, and it will be some can I say the word, some stability for the child as well, because they know that both parents, they're actively involved, and that they actually value them as a whole. I've seen how children will take on um, the emotions of the parents, as it relates to co-parents. I remember it was a time where one of my children, I'm telling you a lot of stories today, but I remember a time when one of my children, um, we were driving in the car, and they were, a lot of times, their dad, he might call, and I'll have him on the car phone, and they'll be talking, and when they were getting off of the phone, he said, "I love you, man," and one of my sons say, "I love you too, Dad," and the other one didn't. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. So when we got out the car, because he had already hung up and everything, I asked him, I said, "Hey, why you didn't tell your dad that you love him back?" And he said, "Well, Mom, I didn't want you to feel like I didn't love you too." And I tell you, it is so important for us to listen to our children. It is so important for us to ask them questions, and not be just so busy with our lives and what it is that we're doing, what we have going on personally. So that was my opportunity to tell him, "Baby, your daddy loves you. I love you. And we both know that you love us too. And that you love that you love it. We love you and you love us." So I told him, I said, "Feel free to always tell your daddy that you love him in front of me. And I could, and feel free to tell me that you love me in front of him." So, it might be something small to you, but to me that was big, because at that time he was really dealing with the separation and dealing with the newness of trying to live a different life. And just like I said, they deal with it just like we do. They're going through it just like we are. So um, I guess that was kind of like a little bonus, because that wasn't planned in my talk today. But I hope hopefully you got something out of that, and everything that I talked about today in regards to honoring the other. Thank you, Dr. Kim. Honoring the other parent's role, because it's very essential to the development and the well-being of our child. So we will continue a little bit on this on tomorrow, um, because I didn't touch on everything that I want to talk about in regards to this. But feel free to share this out with those who you feel like will be blessed by this, and let them know, that I'm live every day at 5 o'clock for the most part. Um, and you could always catch the replays if you don't see the lives. And also, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I am Tiffany D Newton on Instagram, and on Facebook I'm Tiffany D Newton. And also check out our tribe, the Teach Me Tribe, that's on Facebook. It's a dynamic group of people. We come together, and we just openly share our thoughts and our opinions, and it's just a non-judgmental environment, and you just need that, in this life when you're going through different things, just an environment that you can feel loved, and you can feel like you belong. And we'll be having our mixer on Friday, which is like the highlight of the month for me, because everyone gets to come together, and just talk. So it's really cool. So please, join us there. And also you can follow the Teach Me Tribe on YouTube as well. And all these replays are there as well. So I surely thank you all for joining. I don't take it for granted when you all do. I count it as a privilege. And until tomorrow, I will see you then, and have a good one.